Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Lore Sports proudly brings to you the best racing podcast in the world. Now, here's your host, Lauren Leach, the color guy, Mark Allen, the Lugs Racing Podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Lugs Racing Podcast, sponsored by the Corp Racing and Valley Gasket. Right here. Thank you, Tim, with the Corp Racing, and Ben and Kerry with Valley Gasket. Like always, we always say, it just means the world to us, so appreciate it. Mark, episode 159, how are you doing, man?
Chugging right along, man. We survived Phoenix and heading to Vegas, man. Staying out west.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to start this thing. Going to try not to get too emotional here. We had a big loss in the racing community, and especially to us here with Lore Sports and the Lugs Racing Podcast. Brian Buksyk passed away a few days ago unexpectedly, and this is a tough one. Big supporter of ours. He was one of the first ones to order our apparel. I've only done one apparel sale for this. He was first one. I just talked to him a few months ago at the Chase Reichenberger benefit. He was itching for more, says, I'm traveling. I want to travel with your stuff. He was just a great guy. And for me personally, I think a lot of times the grind of this doesn't always get appreciated by a whole lot, which is fine. I don't do it for the appreciation. I'm sure, Mark, you would agree. But a guy who just appreciated what we were doing, let us know of it, wanted to support us in even the littlest of ways, which was big for us. When you lose one of those supporters, it really hurts, and especially when he was just a great guy in general. This one stings.
Yeah, this one was a gut punch, man. Unexpected, you know. I'm going to miss him down in the pits, man. Saw him every week. You know, it was just tradition that we would talk racing afterwards. So, you know, hearts go out to the family and friends and everybody, and prayers and yeah, big loss there, buddy.
Yeah, I know they're going to celebrate his life on March 22nd, so 10 days from today. That would be next Saturday. There from, I think it's 9:30 to 11 over at Wickman in Menasha here in Wisconsin. And then, what is it, Mark, 1 to 7 or 1 to 8 over at Lake Park Pub as well. So I hope a lot of people can go out and celebrate his life because just a great guy, like I said.
Yep, that's 1 to 7 over there at Lake Park on the 22nd Saturday. So, yep, probably going to be over there for sure.
Yeah. Just tough to move on, but we will do so, and I know that's what he would want us to do. So, in addition to that, you had mentioned the number 1 flying honker picture that I had in the intro video. I went back and did some research on it. The picture was taken by Bob Bergeron back in the day. Rich Summers was actually the driver in that picture, driving for my great uncle Gene Wheeler. So I wanted to share some information with you and everyone on that picture.
I looked and I see it says Gene Wheeler on there, but the big honker, man, that used to be on a Bob Schrader number 24 car back in the day, you know. So I never saw Rich Summers ever at Apple Creek. So that's probably over at the quarter mile, early days over there at KK Sports Arena.
Yeah, that's all the information I could find for now. I might reach out to some that may have some more information, some of my family members, or maybe Keith Vercarteren or someone might have some more information on that.
I always dig those old pictures, man, from way back when, you know, and all of a sudden, hey, I remember that. Even though if I was 8 years old, I still remember it.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I wanted to give congratulations to Justin Bonsignor and his wife Taylor or Tay. Interesting story here. They delivered their baby boy Grayson in a McDonald's parking lot last week.
Oh boy!
With only a 911 operator helping them at 2:49 a.m. He says it was fitting for as much as they eat there and on trips home from the races. They have to discuss sponsorship for this future racer. So move over Bubba Wallace, he put. So what an experience that would be. Just incredible. Glad everything worked out. But what an incredible story there for the Bonsignor family.
Very good. Congratulations. They should throw in a Happy Meal on that one, huh, buddy?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I agree with the sponsorship. That would be a great way to move forward.
Absolutely. So, a baby boy, another one. Yes. Okay. Congratulations there.
To continue on here, we're just going to have some news and we're going to recap the Phoenix weekend here. There's a bunch of talk about. We don't have a guest. We'll line one up for next week and go forward with that. We're kind of on a time constraint here this week. So moving on here, talking about some short track news here. The ASA Stars National Tour announced that Appalachian Sucker Punch, a brainchild of the Appalachian Heritage Distillery, as the official title sponsor of the ASA Stars National Tour. So that was some good news for them going out there.
Yeah, sucker punch, man. That's probably how it hits you, right? You know.
Yeah, yeah,
I did see that out there though, so that's a fitting good name, man. I like it.
I agree. Some more cool news. Mark Martin was named the Grand Marshal for the Joe Shear Classic coming up here at Madison International Speedway on May 4th there. So going to visit the McCarnes family there at Madison International Speedway. We saw Mark up here at Wisconsin International Raceway a few years ago. I say a few years ago, it was probably 2017 because I think Ty Majeski had just signed with Roush and was going to make maybe 2016. One of those years, and was gonna he raced in that 60 car for a few races that year, and had him up here to celebrate him at WIR and all of that. So now he's gonna go to Madison, so that's pretty cool news.
That's pretty cool. So yeah, there's probably going to be an autograph session there, man. So yeah, bring your Mark Martin stuff down there just in case, and he'll sign them up for you. Mark's a cool guy, man. We got to meet him back a few years back when he was at Kaukauna.
Yeah, and also the Quickie Driver Development Program is starting to announce their drivers. They've announced 3 so far. I'm not going to name the first 3 right now. I'm going to wait till all. I think they're doing 5 this year. I think they're announcing them one a day until Friday. I think traditionally it's been 7. I think they may do 5 now. So we're going to wait till all of them are announced there. I know Tristan Swanson, Bryce Miller, we talked about that last week, were semifinalists. Included in there, so we'll wait to see if hopefully they're the last 2 finalists coming up this week.
All right, man. Yep, that's coming out day at a time, so we'll pay attention to that.
Then moving on to kind of miscellaneous, where we got NHRA, F1, IndyCar. Starting with the NHRA, Dodge and Tony Stewart Racing announced their new multi-year partnership extension. So Dodge and Tony Stewart Racing announcing that extension. I know it's been a hot rumor that the Truck Series will welcome Dodge back into NASCAR as well. So Dodge making some news in the motorsport realm.
There's a lot of Mopar fans out there that are just dying for that to happen, man. So, yep, little rumblings that Dodge wants to get back in, man, and it's going to happen someday. It's going to take a while, but it'll get there.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you caught this, Mark. This was kind of exciting here. Bob Tasca, who is an NHRA driver, he completed a run, and they are broadcast also by Fox. We talked about that a week or 2 ago. He gave an interview after his run and said, yeah, so I should be talking about that run right now, but really for me, I got to call out Fox Sports. You know, all winter long, we heard about the fastest motorsports on the planet, and I was a little confused because I didn't see that PPG Mustang, which is his sponsor in his car, when he saw the ad and that pro car over there. And the truth is, it's an insult to the fans and the drivers for Fox to go on TV and say the fastest motorsports in the world, and it's IndyCar. Come on now, I didn't think it was Fake News Network on Fox. Mind you, he's giving an interview to Fox Sports when he's saying that.
That's not right. That's negativity there, man. But, that was pretty good. After the races, after the Phoenix Cup race, all of a sudden, bang, they went right to drag racing, man. And all of a sudden, okay, don't have to even switch the channel. Talk about convenient there.
Yeah, that was cool. I tuned in for a little bit of it as well. We talk about this every year. We got to make it to a drag race at WIR.
Okay, I'll drag you out there.
Yeah, I know. I gotta find a date and open one up to go out there. I know Dan and Ginger Vindalwick have been asking me to. Randy Alessandri, who is the announcer out there, he drives the pace car on Thursday nights. He's been begging me to come out there, and I think I've told him the last 3 years this is the year, and I haven't done it. So guess what? This is the year I will make that happen.
I've done it once, so I got one up on you. But yeah, shame on me for not supporting that out there. So yeah, I'm all for that, man. So yeah, let's do that.
Moving into the Formula One racing, their opening weekend is coming up here, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. Stefano Domenicali, who has agreed to a 5-year contract extension with Liberty Media, meaning he'll remain at the helm of F1 as president and CEO through 2029.
Yeah, so yeah, they're kicking their season off mostly on ESPN, isn't that true?
That is
Yep.
true. Yep.
And it's usually always in the mornings too. Also, you could have that with breakfast.
Yeah, except this week the opener is going to be at 11 p.m. Central on ESPN, so that's on Saturday night. So, but we can tell everyone about that again later. Also in Formula One, McLaren announced a multi-year contract extension with one of their drivers, Oscar Piastri. He's a good young driver, picked up a few wins last year. Him and Lando Norris really make a good team, and I think they're going to both be fighting for that top spot there with the drivers with Red Bull, like Max Verstappen and all that. Lewis Hamilton obviously moved over to Ferrari. So there were some big news and big moves that happened in the offseason with F1. And I know I talked about it last week with that Drive to Survive series coming back, and it was starting on Friday. It came out. I didn't get a chance to watch it just yet, but looking forward to watching it because it's one of the best out there.
Yeah, it is. You know, you were talking about Red Bull and how much they pour their sponsorship into that series. Yeah, Formula One is a whole different kind of animal, man. But definitely exciting to watch, especially on some of those street courses, man. They rip around there with those fast race cars, man.
They sure do. Then going to IndyCar, it was announced that Takumo Sato, who is a two-time winner of the Indy 500, will drive a fourth Rahal Letterman Lanigan car in the Indy 500 this year. It'll be the number 75 and sponsored by machine tool manufacturer Amada America.
Yep, there's a name. So he hasn't raced yet this last race, but he'll throw his hat in the ring for this one coming up this weekend.
Some ARCA news as well now. Brent Cruz didn't have a head sock nor a helmet skirt when he won the ARCA race Friday at Phoenix, which is a requirement. So he was fined $1,000 by ARCA and put on probation for the rest of the season. Mark, what an exciting race that ARCA race was out at Phoenix.
Only $1,000 fine for that safety issue. I mean, I never heard of anybody going out there without a head sock on. So wow, he got by with $1,000. But yeah, he's fast, dude. He was on the pole, and it ended up being it was pretty exciting at the end too.
Yeah, I got to catch a little bit of it, but I know you said it was really worth watching. So people go catch that one. Brent Cruz obviously did win that race there, but Brendan Queen kind of was the dominant car all day, from what I understand.
Yeah, he was bummed out at the end, man. It was one of those, he was going to win the race, and in the ARCA series, you got to finish under green, even though that the white flag was already out, and so then it was a one-lap shootout, and it ended up being a grinder at the end, and Brent Cruz pulled that out, and yeah, Butterbean didn't like the way he got used up there, but. Classic race there at Phoenix, trying to fight to get back to the line.
Yeah, great weekend overall, but the ARCA race started us off there.
Yeah, so that's Phoenix on Friday night. So yeah, that was a good one.
Moving into the truck series, then Luke Baldwin, the son of Tommy Baldwin, will make his truck debut at Martinsville. He's going to be competing in the Thor Sport number 66 truck, so that will be at Martinsville coming up here.
Yeah, Luke Fenhaus is in that vehicle for Las Vegas this weekend in the 66.
Yes, he is.
So there's some rotating drivers in that vehicle, but that's okay. That truck is definitely relevant, and it's fast.
Excited to see what Luke can do at Las Vegas this weekend, too. We had him on 2 weeks ago, and can't wait to see what he can do at that 1.5 miles.
Absolutely. So another learning curve for him, man, on a high-speed one there. So, yeah, good deal with Thor Sport, and see how he does.
Also, AJ Waller will make his debut at Martinsville Speedway with Rayom Brothers Racing. So, two drivers making their debut at Martinsville in the trucks.
All right. Yep. Got to start somewhere, man. That's a high speed place to get your career started, man.
Yeah, it's short track, so some bumping and rubbing is racing, right? But I guess we'll talk about what happened at Phoenix. Some rubbing is racing, but yeah, that's a challenge there.
And and it's going to be dusty there. It looks like it's going to be rather on the windy side out there. It's typical. It's always got a little dusty, dirty racetrack out there. But yeah, we like Vegas. It's we know some people that's been out there apparently. So sounds like a good one. And someday we got to do a bucket list and go out there too.
Yeah, there's a inside joke there, which is pretty funny. Um, moving to the Xfinity Series, crew chief change for Blaine Perkins at Jordan Anderson Racing. Cody McKenzie is replacing Jeff Kirkendall.
Okay, isn't that in the 31? Is that
Yes.
31, 32, one of them? Yep. So, all right. Yep. Crew chief scrambling around, trying to get the right connection.
Yep. In the Cup Series, Dean Kessel, who was in charge of Sprint's marketing program with NASCAR, and then the CMO for American Legion, will now be the chief marketing officer at Legacy Motor Club. I tell you what, Legacy Motor Club, after Jimmy Johnson took over majority control, they are making a bunch of changes at the top. I saw some kind of jokes and some messages saying, I don't know how much more space they got to make some moves at the top and with leadership and all of that, but they've been doing a lot of moves.
The performance of the team has been, Nemechek has been better, but boy, we're still waiting for Eric Jones. He just seems to be always in the center of the hurricane in the middle of the pack all the time. And you know how much we like Eric Jones, and we're always pulling for him. So, yeah, we're waiting for a better performance out of Legacy.
Yeah. Eric Jones, it just seems like he's been fast so far this year, but wrong place, wrong time, or something else happens. And you're right. Such a nice guy. Hoping to see his success continue here.
Absolutely.
Burt Myers is going to be back, this time at Martinsville as well. Thanks to Team Amerivet, C3 Skids, and Citrus Safe Cleaners, he's going to get another shot. This will be actually his Cup Series debut, even though he raced at Bowman Gray without it being a points race. So he's going to make his official debut, I guess. I guess don't know what you would call that. Points race debut over at Martinsville.
Yeah, at Bowman Gray, it was like they threw him in at the deep end of the swimming pool, and here you and here you go. What a fan favorite. He has a lot of followers out that way. So, all right, yeah, Martinsville. Now that he's got a little experience, we'll see how he can whip around Martinsville.
Yeah. Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, and Josh Berry did a Goodyear tire test on Monday and yesterday. They were testing some softer tires. The softer tire that was used on Sunday was the baseline for the test, and then they went further that, tested some more softer compounds and all that to try to help determine a tire for the championship race, which will only have one tire compound versus what we saw this past weekend when it had two separate compounds.
Yeah, so that's the red leather tires, and I think they were working on trying to get a little bit of better fall off, so they probably softened it up just a little bit and did a little tire test. Yeah, they announced that and knew that was about to happen.
Yep. Backstreet Boys will be on Nemechek's car at Vegas as part of a deal with Live Nation and Vibe. So a little bit of a throwback to what late 90s, early 2000s music. That'll be on Nemechek's car.
All right, so good deal there.
Also talking about music, some pre-race concerts for Cup events were announced. Ernest will be at Texas, and Nate Smith will be performing at Michigan.
Hey, well, nothing wrong with a concert at the racetrack, man. Just more entertainment, just brings the fans right on in. We saw that in Iowa, and we even saw a little bit of that when we were down at Chicagoland too, man. They throw a concert in there around the race time, so good deal. I love that stuff.
Yeah, nothing wrong with adding some things to get other fans involved and maybe get them to the racetrack there. So I always love seeing that they're doing something different, concert or some kind of event.
Yeah, keep the fans entertained. That's what it's all about, man.
Yep. Joe Gibbs Racing announced that AM/PM convenience stores will be a multi-race primary sponsor for Denny Hamlin. Remember, he was FedEx left him after the end of last year. They left the sport, so they've been looking for sponsorship ever since. So this will be a little help to the 11 and Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yep, that announcement just came out yesterday. So, yep, that was out there, and I just caught that.
Ty Gibbs, speaking of Joe Gibbs Racing, he's going to drive for Chad Boat and joins Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell, who will be competing in the High Limits season opener at Las Vegas tomorrow. So he's throwing his hat in the ring with High Limits Racing.
And that's a dirt race, yeah. Boy, poor Ty Gibbs, man. I seen his last 8 finishes, man, and it's not good. It's just horrible. Somebody needs to give him a horseshoe and put it in a glove box. He definitely needs it. It's horrible.
Yeah, he's man. You said it best. There was an LA Times article by Kevin Baxter that came out this week about Auto Club and what's going on over there in California. NASCAR said on the possibility of Auto Club Speedway short track that is option number 1. Obviously, we've been there for a long time. We still retain enough land to build a half-mile oval if we choose to do that, but we still need some time to sort some things out. The land and the cost of doing business when you have a facility like that, like we had in Fontana, it's very, very challenging. At the end of the day, we're making a for-profit company, and we have to make decisions that are good for business so we can keep it going. So Kevin Baxter writing that article there. So it sounds like they're still trying to make that short track work, but there are some question marks there for sure.
It looked like they dug it up, man, and they just kind of just left it, and it's just sitting there. And the price of land out there is is rather pricey, and it's going to cost a lot to build it. If they're going to do it, they got to build a jewel out there. You got to have a Bristol or a high-speed Martinsville or something that really will attract the fans. Nothing short like the Coliseum or nothing like that, but if they're going to do that, that's what it's going to have to be. Because otherwise, all they've done is road course racing around out in Southern California.
Wasn't it announced when they announced that they were going to try to build a short track? Was going to be configured similar to Martinsville, but really banked in the corners?
Yeah, that's what they were talking about. And it seems like a long time ago, So yeah. I don't know, man. It's definitely seems like it's on the back burner and it's going to sit there for a while, So yeah, didn't they just purchase Long Beach? Wasn't that in the off season coming up that there was some affiliation with them? So I don't know what they're going to do out in California out there.
Yeah, I think it would be good for them to have a presence out in Southern California. It's a big market. I think you can get a lot of different fans involved with that, but I don't know what they're going to do either. Yeah, there's big question marks.
Big question marks on that. Yeah, they're grasping everywhere. They want to go to Mexico City, and they're talking about going to Toronto, and then they're doing the Clash, and they're searching all over the world. So who knows what they're going to do with that. So unfortunate, man. California, kind of remind you of Michigan. It was a nice facility, good racing out there. There's some memorable races out there, but yeah, it's on the back burner for now.
I think with this new car too, it would have really been a special racetrack for this new car. I think it would have really performed well. So that's the thing that kind of stinks about it.
Yeah, so unfair to the fans out there, but well, that's the way it goes, man. Progress.
But I also get they're in, like he said, they're in a for-profit business, so they have to make the best decision. So something has to happen.
There's going to have to be some deep pockets with some good sponsorship and everything like that, and yeah, and they're going to have to build a beautiful racetrack, man, to attract the fans. So, But we'll see. It's going to be a while.
Yeah. Amazon Prime officially announced Carl Edwards as a studio analyst and its pit reporter team of Kim Kuhn, Marty Snyder, and Trevor Bayne. They announced the booth a while back, but they announced the pit reporter and then Carl Edwards, which apparently wasn't a surprise to a lot, but it was kind of surprising to me.
Yeah. He's slowly coming out of the closet and starting to be more, you can see him out more often. He was supposed to be on the Dale Jr. Download today, I looked for it this afternoon and I didn't spot it, so that's probably something I'm probably gonna check out. Dale Jr. wanted to talk to him and just dig up some old times and talk about racing. So I think that's going to be a good podcast. So something worth watching after I get done with the podcast. I'm going to go check that out.
Hey, remember when he and Junior got together at, was it Michigan in the Xfinity Series at the end of the race there? And Junior had his hand out the door and Carl wasn't happy and went to door slam him. And Junior had to pull his hand in the car really quick. Otherwise, it would have got smashed in between.
Yeah, and I think he said he wanted to talk about that and kind of bring up some old memories and see what his side of the story was.
Yeah, I'll probably be tuning into that to see what cousin Carl's been up to. It's great that he's getting back around the sport. I think that's a really cool deal that he's getting back into it.
Yeah, it might open up to just to see, what his, it takes a lot just to absolutely disappear, and he had that championship all wrapped up at Homestead and got taken out, and yeah, I think he had a lot of bad feelings, and he's finally starting to come out and be out more in the public. So good to see him out and about.
Yeah, and I know he's talked a lot about Junior being a catalyst to him retiring, or at least thinking about Junior a lot with the head injuries and all of that. So they have that connection there too. So yeah, I was more on Brad Keselowski's side than Carl Edwards at the time. So that was kind of a rivalry where maybe I didn't appreciate Carl Edwards as much as I should have, because when you look back, he was, and I said this at the time, but he was one of the best with the fans and all that, going in the stands after the races, celebrating. He was really good with the fans. So I'm happy that he's going to have some kind of role, or at least come around and show his face. And it's good for the sport,
Junior said he's going to ask him about that fake punch that he tried to throw at Matt Kenseth at Martinsville, and he's going to ask that it was never answered. What was the issue? And he says he doesn't want to, degrade Carl Edwards. He just wants to open up and see if he wants to answer to that. That really soured a lot of fans, especially around here, with our Wisconsin guy, and we don't know what that was all about. But I think when he flew into the fence at Talladega, and that was a classic when he got out of the car and then he ran to the start-finish line,
like Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, and but still a scary incident. And when you go through something like that, and that last hit that he had at Homestead when he bounced off that inside wall, that was just a grinder, man. And I think maybe he put his hands up and said, I don't need this, and maybe it affected him that way. So we'll see. So maybe worth going to the podcast. Maybe we'll find some things out about him.
For sure. Yep, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
WWE Women's United States Champion Chelsea Green will be the honorary pace car driver for the Cup race at Vegas this weekend. My kid has gotten me into WWE a little bit over the last year or so, and so I'm familiar with Chelsea Green, and she has a good thing going for her. So really cool that she's gonna be up for driving the pace car.
All right, that's cool. I won't say nothing bad there. I could actually make some comments about that, but that's fine.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Somebody put out a rummage sale sign, and then she'll.
Oh no.
No, and then she might park and stop at a rummage sale, or So anyway, that's always an inside joke about that. But some of you gals out there probably wouldn't appreciate that. So thanks, Lauren. You made me step it out.
I didn't know you were going there. I thought it was WWE related. But anyway, NASCAR has changed the open exemption provisional to where if it is granted, there will be 41 cars in the field. No more if the driver qualifies, then there's 40. But if the driver doesn't qualify, there's 41. So pretty much if you ask for the open exemption provisional and you get it before the race weekend, you have no option to qualify and get the money for the race event.
Yeah, so just ask Daniel Suarez how he feels about that this week. And he's talking about the incident with Catherine Legge on there. And he wasn't happy about the incident that he was in. And, kind of popped up that question. So yeah, that's been a little bit of news on the back burner too.
Yeah. Any other news that you want to talk about before we quickly get into Phoenix and end this thing?
No, man, that's all good. Let's go to the NASCAR site and see what's going on.
Yeah. All right. So before the race even started, kind of some interesting things here. First off, Ryan Sieg, Matt Benedetto, and William Swalich had to go to the rear for different things. But Ryan Sieg's is the most interesting. He hit a slightly raised curb in the garage, and it did significant damage. I mean, kind of unbelievable that it did that much damage.
Yeah, to go to the backup car, man, because it just tore the front end right off the car. And, boy, he had that backup car cooking, man. It was okay. So, but yeah, I looked at that car like, how did that do that? And wow, yeah, it's significant. You got to go to the backup car.
Yeah. Bowman dominated stage one there. Zilich overshot his pit and was close to the wall and ended up scrubbing the wall, backing up. And then he had to go forward and then back up again because he was close to the wall. So that was a huge detriment to his stage one finish, and he had to work his way back through the pack.
Boy, good thing somebody isn't standing by the wall and everybody's paying attention there, man, because otherwise, man, you get ground right into the wall. And yeah, that was unfortunate that he overshot his pit there.
Yeah. In stage two, Austin Hill caught the inside wall and ended up collecting Creed and Thompson. That was such a strange thing. Like, he was not even close to making that corner. He hammered the inside wall.
They say that's kind of hard to do. You can't see because if you're tucked up underneath the guy in front of you, and they said it was bound to happen someday, and they found out it wasn't there. And there's Creed minding his own business, you know, and when he ricocheted off of there, and boy, I mean, the car wasn't even stopped yet, and Austin Hill was already saying that's my fault. I did that, and it was a long plane ride home for him of the incident that he had there.
Yeah. Then there was a close call between teammates Christian Eckes and Daniel Dye. I mean, super, super close.
Yeah, so that was there. Yeah, and then also they were talking about Josh Williams, and he was sick,
Yeah.
you know, and he wasn't doing well. And this has been a couple weeks now, right? It wasn't just a daily sick. He was sick last week too, so he's got some kind of bug that's going on there.
Sounds like a bunch of people in the NASCAR community are catching this thing. It's lasting a week or so, and he's one that's battling it, and it sounded like he was really struggling.
Yeah, they asked him how he's doing, and he wanted to keep chugging along, man.
Allgaier would win the stage over Almirola. Unfortunately for Sam Mayer, he was caught speeding.
Yeah, so and the 18 and the 5 got her too for speeding also after that stage. And boy, when you do that after stage 2, man, on a 200 lap race, man, you can't recover from that. Not that late in the race.
Yeah. Cram would spin and hammer the wall just before the green flag stops were going to begin. So that threw a wrench in the green flag stop there. And then after that, Quapple had a right front go down with 7 to go. Man, he's had bad luck the last 2 races with tires going down late. What happened was a brake rotor was off the car in pit lane at the same time as well. And no caution came out. I thought maybe he was going to catch a break there with that brake rotor coming out, but didn't happen. But a caution did eventually come out 3 laps later when lights went hard into the wall and the race would go into overtime.
Yeah, he wrecked in 4, and well, we got to have a green-white checker, right? You know, it just has to be. And so then, yeah, we got our money's worth on the green-white checker.
Yeah, we did. Almirola got into Bowman. They went into the wall. Almirola wins. So it was Almirola, Bowman, Jones, Ryan Sieg, Allgaier, Taylor Gray, Mayer, Eckes, Love, and Sanchez. That move by Almirola was very interesting at the end there, coming to the checker.
You know, let's go back to the lap before that when Allgaier, you know, Allgaier was going to win that race if the caution didn't come out. Once when they got the green flag, the one with the 1 to go, they went into the corner and Allgaier said that they blew the track off and it was dusty and he swept up in the corner and he ran Almirola into the fence, and who was it that was down low? Wasn't it the 20? Jones was down low, and there was just enough room for Bowman to go through there, and he shot right through there, and thought that was going to be the winning move right there. But Almirola wasn't going to go down without a fight. I'll tell you what, a lot of I've heard about 100 different people say how they felt about that. It's a 50-50 deal. So Almirola pulled it out by 0.045 seconds, 45 thousandths of a second. Some people didn't appreciate that because, Bowman had the outside groove. Hey, man, it ain't perfect every time. You're going to have a little rubbing. Almirola got a little bit loose, but, man, you're coming to the line, and, it's, elbows up, and Almirola pulled that off. I know you didn't really care for that because that was your pick, and it was unfortunate, but that was Allgaier's race to win again, and he missed it again. He has the worst luck at Phoenix. He can't pull it off. I mean, he won the championship there last year, but this year, once again, it comes back to haunt him.
Yeah, I'll get into my thoughts here. I want to go out. I went on our social media and asked for some opinions, so I want to read off some of those. So Bree Lynn, thank you for commenting, said that Almirola should have given Alex room. It was a cheap shot, and Alex handled it super well. So we appreciate the comment. Dave Marg says it was the last corner of the last lap. You do what you have to. Great move. Lenny Thiel said, I didn't think it was a clean finish. Almirola, as a veteran, should have given Bowman a lane to race and not put Bowman in the wall. The excuse that Almirola drove it into turn 4 and lost control is a cheap excuse. Poor example of winning a race clean and honest. Three Stones Pit Crew. I appreciate you reaching out as well. Great finish at the line, but two guys, not point racing, going for a win. Don't love Bowman got used up, but had the chance to hold Almirola down in 3 and 4, but left the lane. Leaves a chance for what happened. Little racing, little more used up. Jesse Banky, appreciate you, my friend. Good hard racing. I like this a lot better than ramming him into the corner and wrecking him to win. Used him up a bit, but nothing that any of those guys wouldn't do to get a win. And he did lose the back end, which ran him up, so it's not like it was pure intention to run him out of room. Bradley Shinky says it was exciting, and as a fan who has been on the fence with the sport for a long time, the finish will make me tune in tomorrow. That was awesome. Brad, I hope you enjoyed the weekend because it was great. So that is a plus if it's going to make someone tune in like that. Brian Luther may have been who you said possibly was in Vegas before. He said,
it's open on that. We're not sure, so the jury's out on that one.
Said old used up tires, maybe drove it in a little hard, slid up and pinched Alex in the wall. If Alex wasn't there for him to lean on, he probably would have put her in the fence. There's plenty of leaning on the outside car every Thursday night. Of course, talking about WIR. Corey Ulick said, good hard racing. He didn't spin him or turn him. He came up into his door. Bill Pitt said he was going for the win, got loose. It's racing. Mark Shuda also said that's racing. I'm just going to go to our other social media here and get one other comment before we go into ours, even though you kind of said yours already. Over on X, Larry Football under the ad Beth__Jesus said, fine by me. Bowman gave him the bottom last lap on a flat track. When that happens, it's fair game. So appreciate everyone for reaching out. Hoping to do that a little bit more, get more people involved here. It was fun reading the comments. Let me tell you my opinion here. I didn't like it, and here's why. Before the caution came out, they were running for second, and Bowman, in my opinion, let Almirola go by. Knew he wasn't going to compete for the win. They're not racing for points, so although Almirola is getting points because that's the only series he's racing in, but they're not racing for a championship. But in my opinion, Bowman let him go, or at least gave him a lot of room to get by, and Almirola made quick work for him. The caution comes out. Allgaier loses it, like you said, didn't have great control. It affects Almirola, absolutely. I think Almirola probably was the best car at the end anyway. But Bowman made a clean move, got by him. Then Bowman gives him the lane. Not only gives him the lane, gives him 3 lanes to use coming to the finish.
3 lanes.
Gives him 3 lanes to use, and Almirola uses them up to get the win. I don't care for that. I understand it's racing. There's rubbing and racing. To me, if he would have done a bump and run, I would have been okay with that more than what he did. Bowman let him go prior to the caution. After the caution, coming to the checker, he gave him 3 lanes. If you cannot make the pass by using up 2 or 3 lanes and without putting the guy in the wall, what can you do? So I did not appreciate the move by Almirola. I get it. You're coming to the win. You're going to do whatever you want. I will say this, though. Almirola owned it. He said, I put him in the wall. We're coming to win. It's what everyone would do. So Almirola's owned it, which I totally appreciate because he's not running from it. But the part I didn't like was Bowman raced Almirola super, super clean, gave him more than enough room both times, and got nothing out of it. So that's the reason I didn't really care for the move. If they would have been tight racing all day and all of that, or even the bump around, like I said, I would have been okay with that. But I don't like just using 3 lanes. And I know he did get loose there, but the reason he got loose is because he was going to go up to the wall regardless. So I don't know. It's racing. The reason we're talking about racing now, this is part of it, so it's good for the sport. I loved getting the comments. I loved reading all the different opinions. That's the reason we love this sport, right? Is everyone has a different opinion. It's exciting to watch. But I think there's a reason why Bell and Denny Hamlin and Kyle Larson, we'll talk about this on Sunday, similar situation, and it turned out just a little bit different. And I think they're a reason why they're at that level, and maybe why some are racing on Saturday or even Friday. So that's my opinion on it. I get it. I love that Almirola's owning it. But I just thought the way that Bowman raced Almirola was significantly different and gave him more than enough room. And for Almirola to just take advantage of it, I didn't care for. But like I said, I think Almirola was the best at the end, even though Allgaier really, if that caution doesn't come out, goes on and wins the race. But I do think Almirola was the best, so he probably deserved it when Allgaier lost control of his car. So, yeah, that's my take on it.
It would have never happened down like that. There was a head scratcher of why did Bowman didn't on the white flag lap, that he went the long way around on the dog leg, and Almirola gained four lengths on him when they went into turn 1, and just like I didn't understand that. He gave that whole lane up on the dog leg. And once when Almirola got back on the track, he was right tucked up underneath him. I'm just like, wow, And then, another head scratcher. He gave him not just 1 lane, he gave him 3, and that was more than enough. And I understand that he was going to slingshot around like that. And, he did significant damage to Bowman's car. That thing was used up after it got through the line. So, but some fans say Robbins Racing. It wasn't vanilla. If every race was vanilla, we wouldn't, so it can't be perfect every time. And things happen when you're coming to the line, man, so, and especially if them guys ain't running for points either, that's also a different take on it. But yeah, you're right with the Sunday race. That was a little bit more professional, same kind of situation which we're about to talk about.
Yeah. I just didn't, we always hear, right? You race people how they race you. And I felt that was not the case on Saturday. So I guess that's how I view it. But it gave a lot of people excitement. We just heard it made someone tune in on Sunday then. So if that's the case, I can appreciate that. Plus, Aric Almirola is a great guy. He came to WIR, what was that, 2-3 years ago, Mark? Gave us an interview. was great with the fans. So we do appreciate him, and not everyone's perfect. And he did what he thought he had to. So that's what it is, right?
Can't take it back after it happens. So
Nope.
unfortunate there. And Bowman, that was his only scheduled race that he's going to run. I'd go to Mr. H and say, dude, I need another race here somewhere along the line. It's kind of, to lose out like that, it'd be probably nice to have another chance.
Yeah. Yeah. The fastest lap, moving on here, went to Justin Allgaier, 28.022 seconds, or 128.471 miles per hour. In addition to that, the CW got 1.2 million viewers for Saturday's race, up 13% year over year. So another good trend there for the TV.
A lot of fans are not happy with CW. They're looking for improvement out of them. There's been some complaints that's been going on with them. So hopefully they can do whatever's not making the fans happy. I think it's a good broadcast. But yeah, CW's doing a good job. It's free TV, man.
The thing that people are getting mad at, which I totally understand, is there's two things. One, we talked about this, affected me then the championship race last year. Their local affiliate, if they get streaming or cable, their local affiliate will have something going on like high school state basketball, high school state wrestling, high school state hockey, something like that. So it moves over to an over-the-air channel like 14.2 here, and you have to have over-the-air because even though Comet is also on streaming and on your cable, it doesn't cover that because it's a national channel. So you have to have the over the air. And I don't know everyone's situation wherever they're located, but they're having a hard time getting that. Also, that people just want them to put it live on the app, which honestly they probably should do, because if you're getting it for free anyway, let them just do it on the app. I know it's going to be the next day, but there's been a lot of complaints. So with that, so hopefully they can figure out a happy medium for all fans, because it seems like there's a lot of fans actually affected by this.
They don't cut the commercials either, so that's all still there. So why not throw it out there, man? The advertising's still there. So yeah, it's a head scratcher, but hopefully they can work that out. But yeah, it's rubbed a few fans the wrong way there.
I know Jeff Gluck has a lot of fans that contact him that say they're frustrated with the CW and just put it on the app. So something will probably change at some point here. I do think the broadcast is great. I mean, heck, I had to go buy a $30 antenna, and that's the cheap route, is the $30 route, or $25, whatever it was. That's the cheap route to get it. I went out and did it. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone wants to do that. So is there a different way that the CW can make it work? So I'm hoping they find something.
Yeah, and it's amazing how many free channels you find when you put that antenna up. Just like, wow, look at all of that, So
That's true.
yeah, there's a lot of free TV out there. So yeah, there's options that way. So yep, I've got the antenna here, the same thing, man, over here, and I can just barely, just enough that I can pick up out of Green Bay and pick it up over here.
Yeah. Moving on to the Cup Series here quickly. McDowell's team, they had a hard time getting to the grid right away. They had to work on the steering rack prior to the race.
Yep, and that sent them to the back. So that's a nasty way to start your race. Yep, to the back.
And then Catherine Legge spins on lap 4, but did a great job at keeping it off the wall.
But with no practice, no practice or very little practice, and in an underperforming car, just definitely disadvantaged. But she did the best she could, and she's going to get another shot at it here down the line.
Yeah, they did have some practice this weekend. I think I talked to you about it. They ran, 60 some laps of practice, something like that, in that car, but underperforming, struggled a little bit. And it's different when you get into the race too. So hopefully she gets another shot at it, and they can find the balance on that car and it can go better.
Yeah, boy, does she got a resume, huh? She's into everything. So yeah, hopefully she gets another chance and see what she can do.
Yeah. Stenhouse then spins after contact from Custer and Gilliland. Custer got loose or had some contact, which shoved him up into Gilliland. Custer also went around when Stenhouse started coming down the track there. Priest would be one that pit for the option tire, and during the run, he was going somewhere, man. That option tire was a cool thing that we got to experience this weekend.
Yeah, we saw that. During that incident, once again, talk about Bowman, he was lucky. Just barely missed that right rear tire. Just barely. Wouldn't want your finger in between those two, how he missed that. Yeah, we're dealing with that yellow tire, red tire, softer, harder tire. And boy, I mean, he gained 30 positions. He started in 33rd and went right through right through all the way up to third. But once they only gave him 2 sets of tires, man, you just knew that you had to have them at the end of the race. So it was quite a disadvantage if you were using up your red tires. But it got you some stage points, or it could actually, if you fell behind, that you could correct it and you could get back up front.
Yeah, it was. I thoroughly enjoyed it. We can have a little conversation after this, but Logano would get a restart violation for going below the yellow line too soon. Man, was that close, and he had to do a drive-through for it as the leader. Byron would go on and win the stage there, but it was close. But again, NASCAR's in a tough box. If you give a little, they're going to take more and more and more. So they called it, and it was the right call.
Maybe it was a half a tire, but it's just like in football. You got both feet in, and as long as they brought that out in the drivers meeting. But there's been some times when people further in the back, other races, that they haven't called that. Maybe they should put like an orange box right there to make it more that you can actually see it better. Maybe it's a reminder that you have to stay above that line. Every restart after that, man, it was quite obvious that everybody was sweeping kind of high. they didn't want to be near that area.
Yeah. In stage 2, a bunch of other cars would use the option tire to begin the second stage. The one that surprised me was Cindric, though, who was well inside the top 10 already, so he didn't need to really do anything different there, but they chose to.
And also Chastain got caught for speeding there, and so that he threw his on, and then Logano had his on. But, in the back of your mind, you just knew that somewhere down the line this was going to cost them, because there was only 2 sets of tires that was there, man. They had to have them at the end.
Yeah. McDowell had the right rear go down and got into the wall. Could have been worse there. The caution did come out. And another thing that was interesting was Cindric pitted there. There wasn't too many laps on that option tire there, and he pits to get off them. So I was wondering, could they potentially use that set later on? Didn't really materialize for that, but kind of interesting call for the 2 bunch.
There's some people calling that says once when you use them that you can't put them back on again. There was some grumblings going on about that. Even later in the race, we were seeing some drivers that were trying to go that way and then go back and get the other ones on. Them red tires, them softer tires, they're talking about that they need to fall off more than what they did. So I'm sure the tire test, that's why I brought up before that maybe they're trying to make it a little bit softer so that, it has more of a fall off. I mean, we seen Logano go through everybody, and once when he got done with the stage, he was still in second place. But it was quite obvious that if everybody ran the yellow tires, let's say we just had that set of tires, it would have been a Christopher Bell see you later race, and probably would have been one of them kind of races like he was going to stink up the show. So it made it interesting. As for fans, I'm sure it's entertaining to watch people come ripping through, slicing and dicing to get to the front. So we're going to see if this is this the way we're going to go, that we're going to have this softer tire at certain tracks, and is this the direction that NASCAR is going to go? I mean, this is the fastest track that we've tried it so far. They did it at Wilkesboro at the All-Star race, and where was the other one? That was at Richmond last year when they had it. So it makes for interesting races, and the jury's out. And I just like at first it's just like, oh, here's another gimmick, but I don't know. It'd be interesting if they gave him 3 sets of tires, but I think the red tire just needed to fall off more than what it did.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about it now since you were talking about it. I love the strategy of it. Like, when do you put the option tire on? When do you stay with the primary? I think the option tire with Priest and you mentioned Logano and a few others that came through the field there, Ty Dillon. I think the strategy of it, I would prefer, instead of, I shouldn't say that maybe, because you look at Bristol, and that Bristol where that was probably too aggressive. But if you could find out where the tire would last another 5-10 laps, something like that, then at Bristol, not Phoenix, I think that would be cool, because you would have some fall off comers and goers and all that stuff. But I think if you gave the option of the strategy like you did at Phoenix, that was something to pay attention to. Those strategies are what I like to see. And we see this in other forms of motorsports. IndyCar, you are forced to use the, I don't know what they call it, but we'll call it option and primary. You're required to use at least one set of each. Formula One, same way, required to use one set of each. We see this in other forms of motorsports. I think if NASCAR went this route, I think it could be a good thing. But I also want to give a chance for them to make a softer tire similar to Bristol that lasts maybe just a little bit longer, to see how that would be as well.
Yeah, yeah. So, like I say, the jury's out on it. But I'll tell you what, if you want to get some stage points, you get some points that's there that actually you could put those points in the bank that actually help you out for a finish like Logano. He finished like 15th, but when he got seconds in a stage, that's 9 points, man. That's 9 positions. It's like finishing seventh. So, when it comes to the points like that, there's the strategy behind it.
And those stage points are huge. Yep, for
They,
sure.
they are.
We talked about that last week with Ty too.
Yes, sir.
Well, they ran out of room out of turn 2 at one point. A big wreck happened. Herbst, Briscoe, Haley, Hocevar, SVG, Keselowski, Gregson, and Custer all involved. Briscoe got a little bit of air even when they came together.
That was a grinder, man. It blew the passenger window out and everything. And yeah, a lot of those vehicles were definitely hurt after that, man. That was the big one at Phoenix. But hey, man, that's just like being at the bowling alley, man. There's nowhere to go when you come off that corner, and there's cars going this way and that way. And yeah, that was unfortunate. 11 cars were involved on that one.
McDowell then had another tire go down, but he was able to get back to pit road, and Christopher Bell would win the stage over Logano, who you just mentioned made the option tire work on a longer run even.
Yeah, so it was, that 71 car, man, that McDowell, he had himself a heck of a day trying to get, and he ended up with the fastest lap in the long run, man. So he was still fast, but he had all kinds of issues through this race.
Everyone then decided to put on the option tire except for Ryan Preece and Ty Dillon on the lead lap there. They were the only ones to be on the primary tire to start the stage, which also meant that Logano and a few others would be out of the option tire already.
Yeah, and you're just like, how can you get around this? And from stage 2 to stage 3, there's just so many lap sets, and yeah, you're handicapped if you ain't got that last set waiting for you.
Then Catherine Legg would unfortunately go around again and collect Suarez. She was trying to stay off of Josh Berry there, made some slight contact in the right front in that area of the car, and that contact is so sensitive that she just run around. It was a tough deal for Suarez because he was in the top 10. Also for Ryan Blaney, he barely got by, and they would come down pit road here, the majority of them, and put on the primary tire besides Ty Dillon this time, who went to the option tire, who had both sets left. And then also Jones, Priest, Allmendinger, Gillen, and Stenhouse used their final set.
Yep, so the strategy went that way because it was just way too far out. Hey, the reason why a leg wiped out is because they put the camera on it. You know, that's the same way with me with my videos. You put a camera on somebody and the action happens. So they kind of they jinxed her on that one. And unfortunate that, that Suarez had nowhere to go and he just kind of, he ruined his day right there.
Reddick lost power steering, and then a little while later, Blaney said he thinks he was blowing up, but continued for quite a while there. But boy, are we talking about a lot of power steering issues lately.
Power steering and blowing brakes, dude. Blowing hot brake rotors just exploding out of these vehicles, man. So yeah, we got issues that's going on here.
Yeah, just after that happened, Wallace had that issue happen, and then someone else did as well. But Gibbs had that same thing happen. You're right. There's been a lot of talk about that lately too.
With Gibbs, that was amazing. Most guys would just absolutely give up and, put their hands up like this and take the wall. But he tried to drive through that wreck, and he still pancaked the side of it and made it a little bit less, but still, he still got a DNF out of that. He broke all the suspension parts on that.
When the Wallace incident happened, it was kind of during pit stops there. Byron got to pit road and was able to stop, but he would have to do the wave around because he still lost the lap there. Elliott had pit just before that caution as well. And then, unfortunately, Reddick and Ty Dillon were speeding. And Ty Dillon, this is where the big no-no happened because that totally ruined his day. He had a shot because he had that option tire left. He could have potentially had a shot at a win or at least a top 3 or 5, but that speeding took him kind of out of contention there.
They were so patient with that, man, and the strategy was there and it was going to work, and then he got pinched for speeding, and that was unfortunate. Yeah, with Byron, he had to do the wave around. Well, then he's got to start at the back of the longest line, and boy, he was flying this way and that way and slicing and dicing, man. Definitely could see that he was such a fast car on there. So, but that Ty Dillon, that was a bummer, man. They had the perfect strategy, but he got caught speeding.
Yeah. And then a short while later, Blaney would blow up there. So, unfortunately for that Ford motor.
Yeah, that was your pick. So you gave me a shot and saying, "Yep, I can see Ford brought out their best part right there and showed their true colors." But anyway, unfortunate. Yeah, he said earlier that he was having issues, man, and he was 22 laps short, and he blew her up.
Yeah, that was unfortunate.
And the thing is, Blaney usually runs really good there, and he was just sitting around like 9th to 12th, and he just didn't have it. He was very vanilla for this race for some reason.
Yeah, he was. And then the Gibbs incident happened. That would put it into a green-white checkered, not overtime. So this happened where they would take the green with 2 to go. So not an overtime finish there. And Bell and Hamlin would battle it out till the end. Larson was close there as well. Bell gets it and wins his 3rd in a row. And Bell could have pulled the same move that Almirola did the day before, but it was pretty clean. They did make some contact, but he didn't put Hamlin in the wall. That's the racing that I'm kind of talking about where I expect, like, for the most part, clean. You expect some of that stuff, not to completely wipe someone out in the wall, but I'll digress. I like Almirola and understand and everything, so we talked about it before, but it was kind of refreshing to see Bell race a different way. So it was Bell, Hamlin, Larson, Barry, Buescher, Byron, Bowman, Busch, Zane Smith, and Elliott. And once again, if your last name starts with a B, you were probably in the top 10.
Yeah, for sure. But you know what? Would Bell, if he would have, if that wasn't his teammate, would he maybe give him a little bit more? And then, and Hamlin apparently wasn't too happy that he lost. They said he zipped around the track real fast on the cool down lap, and on the interview, all of a sudden, Bell says he must have saw in the corner of his eye, he saw Hamlin. He goes, "Oh, by the way, yeah, we got a 1st and 2nd," So he tried to smooth it over. Larson thought Larson was in the spot, man. He could have, they could have ended up in a wad there at the end. Hey, how about Josh Berry, man? 4th place. That's the best finish for a Wood Brothers car out there ever. 4th place. Unbelievable. And boy, I tell you what, the 17 Busher, he'll top 5 you to death, man. Good run by him. We see, Byron raced and tried to get back there, and he got all the way back to 6th, was really impressive. So, um, good racing at Phoenix, man. It did good. Um, Usually Phoenix can be a dud. There's a lot of fans that like to see that championship race be moved somewhere else because they've been kind of yawners. But this was a good one this weekend, all the way around. The ARCA Xfinity got fans talking this weekend.
And I think would help Cup. That's why I'm interested in this strategy thing. I don't know that you can do that in the championship race, but that strategy with the option tire in the primary, I really enjoy that this weekend. So we'll see what NASCAR decides, if they continue that route or if they just go with a softer tire. Be curious to see that. But Barry, talking about Barry, he was in the top 5, top 10 all day. It wasn't like he used the option tire for strategy or anything like that. He was there all day.
He had a fast hot rod, man, and he was there. Yep, he was in the mix all day, man. Good run by him.
The fastest lap would go to Michael McDowell after he had all those issues, and he got the fastest lap, his 2nd of the season. So 2nd in 4 races already. Speed of 133.235 miles per hour, which equals 27.020 seconds. FS1 got a 1.43 rating and 2.82 million viewers for Sunday's Cup Series race at Phoenix. It's hard to correlate to last year because the event was on Fox. So the main channel, which got 4.028 million viewers. So no correlation there, but still 2.82 million viewers on FS1. Pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. So it was a good event. Look at it this week, man. Here, we're getting 6 weeks in a row FS1, and they're running it's amazing. They're going to run the IndyCar race at the same exact time, 2:00. So, you can watch one race and then go check the other one out, and you can go through the commercials or one way or another. But yeah, or it'd be just like having football, on Sunday. You can go from one channel to another. So, but anyway, yeah, good deal.
Nope, we got a visitor here.
All right, a future interviewer right there. Yeah.
Putting your glasses on. Anywho, going into Vegas, then, buddy. Let's make our picks here. The defending winner is Raja Caruth. I am going to pick Raja Caruth. I debated between a few drivers like Ty Majeski, who had a heck of a year last year and has some good history there. Also Corey Heim, Chandler Smith. But I decided to go with Raja, and hopefully he can do well for me because I need some points here.
Yeah, so yeah, you had a tough week with both of my wins this last week. Not trying to rub it in, but yeah, and you get 2 points for each one of those. So, hey, man, I kind of looked around and seen Chandler Smith won that race, a few years ago. Was in a 25 car. He ran good there in the Xfinity series too. Well, he's been running at Vegas. So guess what? I'm going to throw Chandler Smith at you. He runs very well there at Vegas. 38.
Good pick in there. Going to the Xfinity Series, John Hunter Nemechek is the defending winner. I am going to take last week's winner. I'm going to take Aric Almirola to repeat and go back-to-back.
So that's a Gibbs car. Yeah, that's for sure. That's a good pick there. Hey, man, I'm going to take a guy that's got a track that's similar to Vegas as Kansas. And, Connor Zilic got a 4th there last time. And I think he's figured that out in a junior motorsport. So I'm going to throw the 88 at you and see what happens, man.
That pick surprised me a little bit, but it could pay off. He's got a ton of talent. We know that he can get it done, but caught me off guard just a little bit there. Going to the Cup Series, the defending winner is Kyle Larson out there in Vegas. I am going to pick a guy who I love picking at Las Vegas. He has a lot of good history out there. Joey Logano, the defending Cup Series champion, I'm going to take.
They came up and said that Joey Logano does not have a top 10 yet this year, even though he's ninth in points. So he's doing good on the stages, but he's not getting the decent finishes. And I thought that was I couldn't lay a bet on Vegas like that, saying the first four races Logano wouldn't have a top 10. So that's wild. So hey man, I'll take last year's winner, man. I'll throw Kyle Larson at you. He runs very good out there in Vegas.
I thought about taking Kyle Larson. I just didn't want to use him this early just yet. But again, you've said this to me many times, and you're right. If you win, you win. So it doesn't matter.
And I'll tell you what, I'm still like, after I made that pick with you yesterday, I'm just like, you know what? I should have took Christopher Bell. If you remember the last time, Logano ran probably 15 laps further than what he was supposed to on gas, and Bell was trying to catch up through, and he couldn't catch him at the very end. And Bell would have won that race if it wasn't for the fuel mileage of Logano. So don't be surprised if there's a four-peat this weekend, man.
Yeah, you're right. Man, he's got a couple of good tracks still left in the schedule, and he's won 3 in a row. Yeah, would not be surprised at all. Going into the TV schedule here, don't forget Formula One, 11 p.m. Central Time on ESPN. That's Saturday night. Then going to Vegas on Friday. These will be Central Times. Again, Friday, 2:35 on FS2 will be truck practice and qualifying. 5:05 on the CW app will be Xfinity practice and qualifying. And 8 o'clock on FS1, the truck race will go green. Stages of 30, 30, and 74. Be a little on the cooler side, in the 50s with 20% chance. On Saturday, 12:35 on Prime, Cup practice and qualifying. 3 o'clock on the CW, NASCAR Countdown. 3:30 on the CW, Xfinity race gets going green. 45, 45, and 100. 10 for the stages. In the 60s with 0% chance. And then Sunday on FS1, 1 o'clock NASCAR race day. 2:30, the Cup Series race gets going. Stages of 80, 85, and 102 in the 60s with 5% chance.
I saw 0% chance. So give us a we'll be all right there, Lauren.
We'll be all right.
All right. You just knocked that 5% right out of there, man. So we'll be all right.
Yep. All right, man. I appreciate it. I got to get going here. Appreciate Tim with the Corp Racing, Ben and Kerry with Valley Gasket, everyone else for their support. Appreciate it so much. Again, thoughts and prayers out to everyone that knew Brian Buksyk. A huge loss here. So continue to think about him, his family, all his friends, and everything.
Yeah.
So, appreciate everyone, and hey, man, we'll talk to you soon.
All right. Have a good weekend, man. See you later.
You too. See ya.
This has been a production of Lore Sports. Hope you all enjoyed it, and thank you for listening.